Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. In case you have not been watching my videos this month, I am participating in Ceri the Crafter's hashtag Mixed Media March 25 challenge. The basic parameters of which are you are supposed to create a project every day for the month of March, incorporating gel printing, the number corresponding to the day, and you need to sign your piece, and it needs to be rectangular in shape. And it's time for us to do our March 12 months of Christmas cards. So we are going to, I've got my 5x7 gel plate out, and we're going to use, I've got the Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stencil. It's THS050 with snowflakes on it to create a background for our Christmas card. And I've pulled out some Folkart Pearl paint in, let's see, I've got Lavender Lace, Aquamarine, and Metallic Blue Pearl. So we're just going to do kind of a combo of the colors. So let's put a dot of oh, that is not mixed. Let's mix that up a little bit. Yeah, I'm knocking stuff over everywhere. Ooh, that is way more than I want of that. Let's, woo, that glob is, this is gonna be messy. Let's put some of the blue, which is coming out very easily, and there's way more paint on this than I need, so I'm probably gonna grab another piece of paper to brayer some of this off on. All right. Ooh, that's not exactly what I was going for, but it's all right. Let's see how this works. Set that down. Grab a piece of tissue. Lift up our stencil. And then I want to put some white on. Just giving it a second to dry because otherwise we're gonna smear everything together. All right, I'm gonna go run and rinse off my stencil. All right, we're gonna go for it and see what we get. And I've grabbed some pearl white. See what we get. Not sure how well this is going to turn out. We're kind of experimenting. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I think, what do I need to do? I think we're going to try it again. I think I'm going to go a darker color for the pole color and see how that works. And this time I think I'm going to try and get a little better job of doing an ombre. Yep. Did bring the stencil back with me, yes? Yes. No, I think I left the stencil in the other room. Let me go grab the stencil. All right. Let's brayer out the purple. Let's add some blue. Add the aquamarine. All right, let's put our stencil down again. grab our tissue paper. Which I'm actually going to put it on this piece of paper and clean it off. But that's okay because letting this dry will get me a better pull. So I'm going to go wash the stencil again. Okay, we're going to try using Folkart brushed metal in dark gray and see if that gets us a better result. Whew, and that's more paint than I probably need, but that's all right. We'll just sprayer it off. Well, that didn't work at all. Oh, like you can't see the lighter colors. I have a feeling what we're gonna end up doing is using this piece because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking putting it over like a Tim Holtz backdrop so that you see something through it. I think this may end up being what we end up using. So, there's one more thing I want to do because we're gonna need to incorporate a number. So let me find what I need. And I realize why I'm like I'm so much on the struggle bus today is because this weekend I'm filming ahead and it's spring ahead. So what's the end of daylight savings time where they spring the clocks ahead an hour. And I went to bed later than I should have to begin with last night and then lost an hour of sleep to spring ahead. And yeah, I'm just not. It takes me a good week when we spring ahead to get my body back in sync with the time. So let me grab what I need and then we will move on. Right, so I pulled out a couple of Tim Holtz Ideology numbers, this is from a Christmas ephemera pack, so it's 2 and 5, and we're just gonna use our plate while we have it out to ink them up. And I'm thinking we might do kind of a, see what we can do that might add some interest and not fully cover. Oh, this purple is causing me problems. Way less of that. All the blue. I think we're gonna add, let's put this down, which is from a piece of packing material from not packing, Brussels sprouts. It had Brussels sprouts in it. All right. We've got that pattern on there. And then let's see, what do I want to do? Give it a sec. We're going to do a little light over top. We're just going to see what we get because we can always cover it up if it doesn't work. And do that. Grab a piece of paper so we minimize the amount of mess on our hands. See what these look like. Don't know that did much of anything worthwhile to our 25. I mean, color-wise, it's going to work better than the straight up black, but I don't think we've got any of the actual colors on it. I'm gonna set those aside and let them dry and see what happens with them. We may come back in and add more color to them later. Let's not rip it. If we feel we need to, but I could probably do that without the gel plate needing to be out. So I'll be back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled out, this is Tim Holtz Ideology backdrops from, I think it's the Christmas 23 set. And those sheets are 6 by 10. And I decided I was going to do a 5x7 card for this card. So I've already cut this down to 5x7, and what I did was, because it's 6 across, to keep the jingle bells at the top centered, I cut a 1/2 inch off either side instead of just cutting 1 inch off. So I cut these off, and to keep as much of the song on as possible, I trimmed off the top bit and then cut it down to 7. So I've got a bunch of scraps that I'm gonna need to do something with. And now I'm gonna pull over our piece of stenciled gel printing. And what I think I'm gonna do is cut out this section and then cut out another row from over here. And we're gonna use matte medium to glue it down. So this is wet strength tissue, so it's probably not going to disappear as much as a regular tissue paper would, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer and cut out our snowflakes, because I think I need 3 rows of snowflakes for this background. So I'm going to trim this over as much as I can here, and then we'll take off this side. I figure I can leave the top and bottom on because I can always trim that off when I'm done. And let's go ahead and do the same. Let's trim out this section. Let's pull that over get it as close to the snowflakes as possible. Let's see how this looks. So we put those on like so, and then this set on like that. Have a little overlapping. Don't want to have too much of these guys overlapping each other. Let me have a bit of a think here. I think I can just make sure they line up with each other and not overlap, and I think that'll work. It's not perfect because like the snowflakes kind of encroach next to each other on the full piece, and there's going to be a bit more of a gap, but I can always put my focal bits to disguise that. So I think that's what we're going to do. And I'll just trim off any excess after it's dried. So let's start with that. That's gloss. I don't want gloss. I want matte. And I'm using Liquitex matte medium. You can use whatever kind of liquidy glue you like. I mean, technically you could probably use glue stick to glue this down, but I don't think you're going to get as good of a result as you would using a wet medium, like a matte medium or a Mod Podge, or just, you know, watered down school glue, like whatever glue you've got will be fine. And you of course could put your Liquitex, like I could pull out a palette and put the glue on a palette, but I'm just gonna put it straight onto the piece. And we are gonna do a coat over top, kind of smooth that out. And yes, we're gonna have wrinkles and there's gonna be texture, and I'm okay with that. Just gonna add more interest to our background. Now that is down. All right, I am gonna set this aside and let it dry completely. And in the meantime, we're gonna work on our focal image. Okay, so I went and got the rest of the stuff I needed, and let's turn this back this way. I decided what I want to use for my focal image is Mr. Frosty CMS499 by Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And I went ahead and cut out a piece of Canson XL watercolor paper. I have a really old Fiskar paper trimmer, rotary paper trimmer, and it has different types of blades. So I used the decal edge blade to cut out my piece. I know Tonic and Tim Holtz have a decal edge guillotine trimmer. And I think you might be able to find, I've seen like on Amazon, like different like trimmers that have fancy blades for it, but my Fiskar's been discontinued and they don't make the fancy blades anymore, and it makes me very sad, but I'm glad I got it when I got it. Now I picked the Canson XL watercolor paper because I want to use my Distress watercolored pencils to color it in, because I just don't use them enough, and why not? I'm gonna stick this in my Misty. Stick him down. And I am gonna stamp. Sorry about the glare. There's not a whole heck of a lot I can do about that. I am gonna stamp using, I'm trying to decide if I want to use Archival Hickory Smoke or Black Soot. Let's start with Hickory Smoke because I can always restamp and go darker. This thing is, I just watched this like last weekend and it's already kind of gross again. And I'm just putting a little hand sanitizer on to clean the dust off. That's why I put the plastic piece back on top. Maybe I need to clean that plastic piece because I live in a house of dogs that run around in the yard. My house is always full of dust and dirt and such. So let's try this again. And of course I started inking and moved the paper, and it's gonna be one of those days. All right, let me clean the stamp off because I'm gonna have to reposition it once I put the paper back in because I wasn't paying attention to where it was. All right, that is down. Let's place our stamp. Go over here. I think I'm gonna leave it for now. I am gonna paint this in my Misty because then I can always go back, and if there's parts I want to darken, I can restamp. So and the reason I'm using archival ink is because it's waterproof and I'm using a wet medium by using the Distress watercolor pencils. And I'm gonna let's start on his nose, and I'm gonna use Carved Pumpkin for that. Gonna color with the pencil and then grab a brush and add water and just have a cloth over here to wipe off the excess water. And I'm going to touch my pencil to the tip of the crayon to just get it a little darker on the bottom. And if you've watched any of my videos where I use my Distress crayons, I always comment I need to start a swatch. And then every time I'm like, but I don't want to do it now. I'm in the middle of filming. So before I came back on, I went ahead and like started a swatch so that I could use it to help me pick the colors I want to use on him. I think we're going to use Wilted Violet for his scarf. And in case you're wondering, the little stars are letting me know when a new tin starts, because I went through and when I bought all of the Distress watercolored pencils, I took them out of the tins and reorganized them because I got them like on a deal where I got the whole set for a discounted price. So I reorganized them so that they follow the distress color chart, which you can get on Ranger's website. So it's got the colors in this order, and so that's the order I put them in my tins. So the stars indicate that Prize Ribbon is in the first one in this tin, and so Wilted Violet's going to be somewhere around here. There we go. So yeah, I've started, and what I did was I scribbled on and then diluted it with water, and I left space so that I can scribble on a block and pull the paint over so I can see the difference in how it works coloring with it versus full-on watercoloring with it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to come in. Ooh, don't you move. Do not move. Like, I don't know what's up with this mat. It used to work great, and this video, and if you watch the gel printing postage collage video, it has been not cooperating with me lately, and it's not making me happy. Again, I'm gonna do the touching a wet brush to the pencil and try not to splatter color everywhere. Now, if you do this, you're gonna wanna let the crayon dry again before you try drawing with the crayon, because it gets very soft where you touch it with a wet brush. I think I'm gonna grab some Tumbled Glass and go around the edges and add some depth to the snowman. So I'm just gonna add some over here and where we've got the shadow lines, just to give him a little bit more personality. Then I'm gonna take just a wet brush and kind of blend it out so that we don't have like a harsh line. I think I'm just gonna use the Wilted Violet, it's mostly dry, for the sash on his hat. Yeah, I thought it was dry enough, but it was still a little crumbly from having been wet when I went to color with it on directly on the piece. And I'm trying to decide if I want his hat to be black or if I want to come in with a dark blue. And a part of me really wants to do Chip Sapphire. You know what? Let's go for it. And I didn't color it fully in because I want to keep some of the highlighty aspect of the stamp. So by starting over here and pulling the color to where I didn't color, it'll be a little lighter than the back end of the hat. No, that definitely shifted. Dang nabbit. This mat is giving me fits. And it should not. Having real concerns that it's not going to line up properly when I go to restamp. Because I definitely am looking at it thinking I want to restamp, and I'm testing now because if I'm going to have to redo it, I might as well not finish it and just redo, but I think we're okay. For the ground snow, I think I'm gonna go Speckled Egg. And I need a brown for his stick arms. Let's just use gathered twigs. think I'm gonna put some chip sapphire on the buttons and his eyes. Let's go ahead and do his eyes too. All right, fingers crossed restamping's gonna go well, because I'm gonna be very sad if it doesn't, and I'm gonna have to redo this. Dag nabbit! Shifted just ever so slightly, so now he is blurry and it's driving me crazy. All right, I am gonna redo this whole process off camera and hopefully clean this off again and get the piece to stick better, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've redone our snowman and he is not blurry. I mean, this one's not too bad and I may find some way to use it, but yeah, this one looks much better. Our piece is all dry, so I'm just going to take some scissors, excuse my reach, and trim off the excess. Uh-oh, got a spot that did not get glued down all the way. Let's fix that. All right, we'll work on the other side while that's drying. Hopefully everywhere else is down. Apparently I didn't do a great job on this side because it's peeling up over here too. Okay, so we've got our snowman who's gonna go, I think, there. We've got the 25 we did on the gel plate. Kind of like it like that. And then I die cut from the pieces I was originally thinking I was going to use that didn't come out great, some snowflakes, and the snowflakes look great. So that's something to keep in mind. If you've got gel prints that don't come out exactly as you intended, don't throw them out. You might be able to rescue them as die cuts. That one, it broke when I was pulling it out, so we'll just glue that on. I feel like we are definitely going to ink the edges of that so it stands out more. I think, change things around a little bit. Put that there because these two are the same die, and I think these are memory box dies, the snowflakes, and that can go there. I think I like that, but it feels like it needs like a label down here. Let me see what I have label wise. I think I like it. I think we're going to shift it over just a hair that way. And I want to stamp, I think, Merry Christmas on that. So let's start by inking the edges. And I'm going to grab, woo, knock stuff over. It's got Uncharted Mariner on it. Yep, I think that's going to work. Let me find a Merry Christmas stamp for there. I'm going to use Christmas Magic from the set, and I am going to, fingers crossed, just stamp it. And I'm going to use Versifying Clair in Twilight, so that should stamp very well first time round. Let's pull out my mat, which will help with the stamping. Oh, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead, and I want the 5 to go there on this so that the label doesn't show past the 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the label to the 5 so that I can line it up exactly where I want them to be lined up together and not worry about that getting messed up. Put all of our snowflakes back because we can figure their placement out in a sec. Now if we're gonna shift over a little bit, have him go there and have this just over top of the label. Okay, so I'm gonna put glue along here and glue it to the label. Then let's glue the top of the 5 on. And our snowflakes. Let's grab tweezers because it makes it a little easier to hold and glue all these delicate bits. And yeah, part of that one ripped off, but it's less noticeable than with the other one, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm gonna just put down a rag so that if there is any glue seepage, it goes onto the rag. I'm just realizing now my nails are a mess. I'm gonna put that one there. I need to use a little more glue on that 25. I'm gonna move that one over there instead of over here. All right, I need to get a piece of cardstock for our card base so that I can sign the back, and then this guy will be done. Okay, so I've got a piece that's 10 by 7. I am just gonna fold it in half, and I know there's some smoosh on the front here, but we're going to be covering it up completely. So why waste otherwise perfectly good piece of cardstock because you got some dirt on it when you can just cover that up. Oh, you know what? I think I want to ink around the edges. Let's fix some trimming up that needs to be fixed over here. And then, yeah, I think that's just the finishing touch it needs.
Yep, let's go ahead and glue it down. All right, let's put our name on the back. And with my cards, I just put my first name on and the year. And there we go. Our 12-month of Christmas cards card is done. Day 25 of Ceri the Crafter's Mixed Media March 25 challenge is done. I can't believe the month is almost over. It really went by rather quickly. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.